Hello everyone, what's up? Prince 15 here with another Star Wars series review. Today we are taking a look at episodes, it would be 13, 14, and 15, or Season 2, Episodes 1, 2, and 3 of Andor. Finally, at long last, Andor returns, and I think it's going to be worth the wait at the end of the day. Andor's kind of the little show that snuck up on everyone. Like, I can remember when season 1 was announced, the prevailing, a lot of what I remember seeing at the time was a lot of people going, who cares about Cassian Andor? That's the one character from Rogue One no one really cared about. Why, of all people, would you make a show about him? It's like, that we don't want to see this show. It's like, why would you make this show? And then I think a lot of those people then ended up eating their words when season 1 was so good. Not without its faults. I still contend, and maybe this is my own issue, but I still contend that season 1 is a little slow. It's like but that issue of it being a little slow, I think they're fixing with this season of dropping 3 episodes at once, which I think helps that slow problem. It's like, yeah, the episodes are still kind of slow, but if you can actually just binge the whole arc in one kind of in a short time frame like that, it helps. I think that really does help, because last season, waiting like a whole week in between, like, okay, can we get this Aldani raid over with? It's like, oh, Cassian's been in jail for a whole episode. And it's like, I can't wait for the prison break next episode. That's surely going to happen, but can we get there already? It's like, gosh. But it's one of those things, like, I'm impatient about it, but then the payoff is so worth the wait. So I think that they're doing well this time around by dropping 3 episodes at once, so those of us that are a little more impatient can go ahead and get that, not instant gratification, but in a much more timely manner. Because I'm actually one that does enjoy waiting a week in between episodes most of the time. I'm really happy that Disney Plus has been doing that, as opposed to, say, Netflix or Hulu or Max. Well, actually, I suppose HBO's kind of done the weekly model too, but you know what I mean. A lot of these streaming platforms have always just dropped like 13 episode seasons in one go. It was really Disney Plus that kind of started to buck that trend with The Mandalorian and stuff, and I'm glad that they've continued to do that, because I do think the weekly release is, because it lasts longer that way. Because I can remember, what was it? Oh, I remember it was the first season of Dragon's Race to the Edge, one of the How to Train Your Dragon animated shows. I remember when that dropped on Netflix. That first season dropped on Netflix in like 2015 or whenever that was. I sat there and basically watched the whole season in one go, and then it was like another 6 months until they dropped another 13 episodes. And gosh, was that wait long. So I never did that again. I kind of taught myself, it's like, okay, I gotta space this out. I gotta wait. It's like, watch an episode a day, or if I can even manage it, an episode a week. It's like, I've always kind of had an issue for a long time now of just dropping whole seasons in one go. So I'm glad that Andor's now finding this happy middle ground where they drop an arc at a time, but then you got to wait a week for the next one. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this first arc of Andor season 2. Lot of interesting things happening here, and a lot of them don't involve Cassian, which is interesting, and kind of following the trend of season 1, where it's like, yeah, Cassian's an interesting character, and I've always liked Cassian Andor. It's like, because that was my thing, like I was talking about a moment ago, of a lot of people going, it's like, no one cares about Cassian Andor. I'm like, I like Cassian Andor. I liked him in Rogue One. I thought he was an interesting character, and I'm glad we're getting more of him. But and so he is an interesting character, but I do find like almost every other character more interesting than him in the show named after him, which I do find a little funny. That's not to say he's a poorly written character, or he's a bad character, or he's an uninteresting character in his own show. It's just that I find everyone else more interesting around him. But I think the show juggles that well enough that by the time I start missing Cassian, he pops up again. And then it's like, oh, and now we're back with Mon Mothma. Or we're back with Cyril doing stuff on Coruscant. Who knows? So the show has a large supporting cast, and I think they all kind of get their time to shine, which is great. So yeah, first episode is an interesting start because we have Cassian stealing a TIE fighter. He gets stranded on this random jungle planet. We don't know what it is. And then I'm pretty sure we also have, yeah, and then we also have the meeting about Gorman with Krennic, which it's great to see Krennic back. That's a fun character from Rogue One. I'm glad we're getting more of him because his backstory that's explained in some of the books and stuff is really interesting. That he kind of rose up from this lowly station to he wasn't always just in this like some other Imperials. He wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, so he really did have to work for everything he's achieved for the most part. And so yeah, I like seeing more of him, and I wonder how much of that's going to play into a story here. So yeah, it's I don't really have too much to say about the first episode. It's setting a lot of ground for obvious plot lines that's going to carry throughout the season with Gorman and the kind of early days of the fractured Rebel Alliance. And Cassian telling those rebels, it's like, wait, you're the whatever group? It's like, I work for the guy that's been supplying you. We're all on the same side here, and they don't believe him, and then they turn on each other, which I found all that very entertaining, and a really, I think, good indication of where the Alliance is at this point. Because in episodes like 2 and 3, we hear about, the Alliance needs funding, and it's like, I helped you with your funding problems, Mon, and it's like, but now it's like maybe need some of that funding back because now I've got my own issues. It's like, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. It's this rebellion thing, which makes it sound a little bigger than it is at this point. I feel like at this point in the timeline, I think the Ghost crew is maybe still on Lothal, kind of doing their own thing. Even maybe they've joined up with Phoenix Squadron at this point. I don't know. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, it is interesting to see all the different splintered small groups. Like we had a little bit of that last season with, of course, Saw Gerrera's partisans, but we were familiar with those guys already. So to have this new group and it seemed like, this group that's about to be snuffed out and go away, I thought that they were really interesting. And I was kind of waiting for like one or like a couple of those characters to like end up like them all getting off the planet at the same time, but then they kept dying one by one in very quick fashion. Because there's the whole argument at the end of the first episode where the one guy that's clearly more brawn than brain, just, he's in the argument with the pilot lady, and he just straight up gets annoyed and shoots her. And then he gets shot in return. I'm like, oh, well, they're dead. It's like, I guess we're done with those characters. And then the infighting starts, and then like they've picked which side of the clearing that they're gonna hide on. And then like when they come out to do rock, paper, scissors, and then like 3 of them just get eaten by that beast in one go. And like one of them was like what I would call like the leader of the group. Like he was trying to be the leader. And then there was the guy that was the brother of the person that stranded them there, and he was also trying to vie for leadership. And so like those two were butting heads, and they were kind of dragging everyone else into it. It's like both those guys got like eaten in one go. I'm pretty sure. And so then it's like this. So then you're left with this group of lackeys that really don't have any sort of leadership among them anymore. And Cassian escapes. I'm like, oh, so all those people are dead now because Cassian's now stranded them on Yavin 4. I will be very interested to see if there is any callback to them at all whenever we eventually return to Yavin. 'Cause I'm going to find it really funny if like Cassian lands on Yavin for the first time when the Alliance has established itself there. And like one of them is working as ground crew and they see each other. And it's like, you left me here 4 years ago and I lived as a hermit. And until the rest of the Alliance showed up. And it's like, I told you I was part of the Alliance. You should have believed me and you wouldn't have been in this mess. But no, I think all those guys are dead. I think they're going to get picked off by the wild animals or shoot each other in the back or something. But no, I enjoyed that plucky band of morons. And the way that Tony Gilroy wrote the juxtaposition of, like, it kind of seems like Cassian's in this really bad situation, and then meanwhile Mon Mothma is just kind of living it up and in her palace. But really her experience is just as harrowing as Cassian's, just not in so much of an obvious way. Like the whole marrying off her teenage daughter, because like I think it was said in like the end of the first season that she was 13 and so she would soon be of age. So and then a year passed, so like when she's 14 then she's going to be of age. So she's like 14 and has been married off to some other 14-year-old kid, and they go through this whole ceremony thing. And the kind of a really, really heartbreaking moment in episode 3 when Mon Mothma tries to connect with her daughter and says, "Hey, I didn't want to go through with this, and I kind of regretted it. I've regretted it ever since. You don't have to do this just to uphold the family name or whatever. I will give you a pass, and we can just not do this." And then, like, her daughter immediately shuts her down. Mon's daughter is like, "I wish you were drunk," alluding to what Mon said about her own mother during this. And it's just, wow. I was like, my jaw dropped when she said that. I was like, okay. It's like, you may not have physically lashed out, but you might as well have just slapped your own mother in the face there. Holy cow. And it's like, this is the cutting back and forth to whatever danger Cassian's in. And then Mon's day, just or her weekend or whatever, with this 3-day wedding celebration or whatever going on, just getting worse and worse and worse and worse to the point where it like she thinks it's bad enough. Like, she's totally conflicted over basically selling her child to this black market arms dealer or whatever so she can have funding for the Rebel Alliance to fight the growing tyranny in the galaxy. Like, that's bad enough to start off. But then her old childhood friend, who maybe there's some old lingering romantic feelings from way in the past there. Maybe not. Who knows? It's kind of alluded to, kind of not. It's like, oh, now he sort of kind of is maybe blackmailing her. And then Luthen is like, all right, well, we're going to kill him off now. Sorry. Have fun at the party. It's like, gee. So it's like this show does not pull its punches. Like, I'm pretty much on record in all these videos I've done reviewing all this Star Wars stuff. I'm pretty much on board for anything that has the Star Wars name on it. I may like some things, I may not like some things. Like Acolyte, I wanted to like, I didn't like for a number of reasons. You can go watch those videos and week to week and, you know, those episodic reviews and see what I thought. But most things I'm open to with Star Wars and like it. It's like because most of the time I feel like they do a pretty good job of weaving each new project into the larger narrative and the universe and making it fit. And that is one thing I really like about the Star Wars universe, is that you can have stuff like Rebels, which starts off a little bit more kid friendly, and it's got this really vibrant, different, out there art style. And yeah, in Sabine's painting graffiti everywhere, and Ezra has this funky lightsaber that shoots stun blasts, and so it doesn't look like a normal lightsaber. And, you know, Zeb's cracking jokes and punching stormtroopers and stuff, and it's all kind of happy-go-lucky. Then meanwhile, at the exact same time, roughly at the exact same time in the galaxy, Mon Mothma is marrying off her teenage daughter and having her childhood friend offed by her contact in the rebellion. And Cassian Andor is losing a beloved friend of his to Imperial tyranny and having to escape with his only 2 remaining friends and leaving the droid behind, unfortunately. I really hope they go back for a B2MO. And having to leave the droid behind while one of them was almost raped. It's like, gee, this is not your your kids Star Wars. This is not Star Wars Jedi Adventures or Young Jedi Adventures or whatever that preschool age show is called. It's like this is. Granted, I'm not sure what the canonicity of that show is. That may be like the Lego things, where it's like, yeah, these characters exist in the universe, but this show itself isn't necessarily canon because it's a preschool age show. I don't know about that exactly. But it is funny to think it's like this is a franchise that can give you both something like Young Jedi Adventures and Rebels and early episodes of Clone Wars, where it's a little more happy go lucky, and then there's a line, and then there's actually a line in the third episode where a woman has to say, "He tried to rape me." It's like, gee, we're getting. Well, you wanted an adult, serious Star Wars show. This is fans is like, this is what you get. And hey, I like it. I like that it's not dumbing it down or really talking down or anything like that. It really is. But it's not going over the top with the dark. It's not like Deadpool where they're just throwing out curse words left and right. It still feels like that if you are 11 or 12 years old, this may be a little mature for you, but you could still understand this and appreciate it. Maybe not to the same extent if you were, an adult watching it, but I appreciate the tone and the seriousnthat the team has gone for here. It feels like it's going to connect to Rogue One really well. Because that's a serious war movie. Basically, there's not much fantasy in that space fantasy. I mean, Vader's in there and he's got the laser sword at the end, but yeah, it's like that's still a pretty serious war movie. It just happens to be in space, and they're kind of doing the same thing here, and I really appreciate that. Like I said, I can appreciate many aspects to Star Wars as long as what they're trying to do is as long as they execute well on what they're trying to do, and most of the time I feel like Star Wars does, so at least in my estimation. So let's see here. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the major points covered. It's Cassian stuck on a planet, Mon Mothma's doing some stuff. You have a little meet the parents with Cyril and Dedra, which gee, that it's like Cyril's mom in the first season, I kind of found funny. It was that she was annoying, but it was that funny kind of annoying. But this episode, it's like, oh wow, they really turned her up to 11. It's like that. It's like the moment the door opens, it's before the door even opens, because I'm pretty sure, because we keep hearing that chime. So I'm just imagining to myself, wait, is she standing out in the hallway repeatedly pressing the doorbell until it opens? Is she that type of person? I'm like, of course she is. Yeah, of course she's that type of person. And so now it could just be a Star Wars doorbell that repeats like that. But I really do, my personal interpretation really is that she was just standing there pressing the button repeatedly until Cyril finally opened the door. So yeah, no, I think this does a lot of great setup for the story and the characters and where we're going this season. I'm very excited to see how this is all going to play out, because we've got 3 more story arcs left. And just how all these characters are going to end up. It's like, where are they going to end up? Or it's like, is this going to be a thing kind of like Rogue One, where every character that's not in a movie is going to die by the end of this? Like, we know Mon Mothma, Cassian, and eventually K2SO, Saw Gerrera, they're fine. They're safe. We know that they have to live because they make it to more movies and stuff after this point. But like everyone else, who knows? Oh, and Krennic too. But everyone else, who knows? It's like, yeah, any one of them could bite the bullet at any time, and we saw that with Brazo, unfortunately. That which is unfortunate, because he was just that I'm pretty sure that they've said that like each story arc is going to move forward a year, and I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle that, because I feel like how are they going to show how the loss of Brasso is affecting everyone a year after it's happened? It's like, I kind of feel like, I guess we got a little bit of what their feelings were. Obviously, it just happens, so they're sad, because like Bix is crying in the TIE Avengers, it's flying away and everything. Cassian looks like he's about to burst into tears too, but he's forcing himself to hold it together until he gets them off world and past the Imperials and everything. Which, gosh, what a final shot to end on for Cassian's part of the story, because the actual ending is Mon Mothma drunk dancing in the crowd at her daughter's wedding reception. And that was quite the way to end it too, because like it's just the jubilant music, but it's this overwhelming sense of dread and everything has gone wrong, and yet everyone's like, yay, because they're none the wiser, but there's select few characters, and you sympathize with those characters, and it's this feeling of dread despite the happy techno music, and then boom, cut to black credits. It's like, oh, I love that. That was so good. So yeah, if the show keeps this up for the rest of the season, I think we are in good hands, which, going by the way season 1 worked out, slow at times, the week to week for every episode for 12 weeks was a bit of a struggle at times, I'll admit, but boy, was it worth it in the end, and I think it's going to be the same thing here. So I am very excited to see more Andor. So yeah, so that's pretty much going to be it for this review of the first 3 episodes. I'm going to be doing these on Mondays for the next couple weeks, because it's going to be a shortened time frame this time, because there's 12 episodes that they're releasing, but it's only going to be 4 weeks because they're dropping them 3 at a time. So yeah, the next 3 weeks I'll hopefully be able to put up one of these on time. I almost didn't get this one done today because I had things come up, but I managed to get it out just in time. So yeah, hopefully the next couple weeks I'll be able to have these out on Mondays, and then the new episodes drop Tuesdays. So yeah, I really enjoyed these episodes, and I'm so excited to see where the season takes us. So that'll be it for this review. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Remember to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Those links will be in the description below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.